Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. This week I got a huge fragrance haul in and I'm gonna go over 4 of those from that haul. I got a Lattafa, I got a couple Armafs, and I have the new Afnan Tobacco Rush. I'm gonna unbox those, let you know what I think, give you my first impressions. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right, so like I said, I got a huge fragrance haul in this week. Like I got 13 new bottles of fragrances in this week. Obviously, I'm not going to cover all 13 fragrances in one video. A, the video would be too long. B, I would blow myself out of this room with 13 fragrances up in the air, first impressions. I can't do that. I would love to do it for you guys, but I just can't do it. So I'm gonna do 4 at a time. I'm gonna have other videos covering the rest of those. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you don't miss that. Lots of new fragrances coming out here. I'm gonna give you my first impressions of. I bought all of these from fragrancebuy.ca. It's pretty much my go-to when I get fragrances. Great place, huge selection, tons of Lattafas, Middle Eastern fragrances, Afnans, Rassacis, the whole shebang. They got it all there. Great customer service, great shipping, great prices, all that. I have a coupon down below. If it's your first time using Fragrance Buy, you can save yourself $5 off your first order. So the coupon code's down in the description if you want to use that. Save yourself $5, get a good deal on some fragrances. It's a win-win situation. All right, so first up on the list, we have a fragrance from Armaf. Fragrance Buy has it listed as from Armaf. I believe it's from the parent company Sterling Perfumes, Sterling Parfums, whatever they call it. It's Style Black Dragon. I have never heard of this one before. When I was shopping around, I saw this pop up. They had it listed as an Armaf. As I dug into it a little bit more, it's not really an Armaf, but it's from the Sterling company. Whatever, it's a $14 fragrance. Looked okay. Bottle kind of looked kind of cool, so I was just like, you know what, for $14, I'm just gonna throw it in the cart, away we go. If you're shopping around on Fragrance Buy, I think it's 5 fragrances, you get free shipping. So like if you only got 4 in your cart, you just throw this in there and boom, you got free shipping. So financial tips from Post Cologne, that's what you get here. Fragrance reviews, financial advice. They actually never take my financial advice. I bought 13 bottles of cologne and that's maybe not the best thing. Let's get into this fragrance. This is a very cheap box. It's got Velcro. I've never had a fragrance come with Velcro. That is definitely new. How the hell do I get this thing out? Oh, it has a slide cover on it. This is very bizarre. Anyways, it's in this, it's like a pouch. It's like a pouch with like a cardboard collar that goes around it. It's definitely $14 worth of packaging, I'll tell you that much. So there we go. There is the bottle for Style Black Dragon for men. Very interesting looking bottle. This is an eau de toilette. This is a very sticky lid too. Like legit sticky. I don't know what's going on here. If there was a leak or it's kind of gross. That's actually, I'm not even gonna lie, that's really, really sticky. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's a bad first impression so far. Style Black Dragon. I'm not too impressed. Let's get into the fragrance. Let's see what this is all about. It is a cool looking bottle. Like it's got this like interesting cap to it. You know, it's got kind of an embossed Style Parfum logo on there, and then Black Dragon Eau de Toilette on the back. And it's got this leather sort of case that goes around it with like a dragon engraved into it. It's interesting. This sticky cap is really bothering me, but $14, what can you do? But let's give this the true test, which is how does this smell? So we're gonna get some of this on paper. There we go. Get some of this in the air. Very citrus opening. A bit of alcohol at the top, which is I was definitely expecting to get some alcohol at the top for a $14 fragrance with a sticky bottle that comes with a dumb pouch. It's very faint. It's really kind of hard to pick up. Definitely got kind of a lemon edge to it. It's got some like white floral in there, like maybe like it's like orange, like an orange blossom in there. I honestly can't smell much. I'm gonna be quite honest. I can't even really pick anything up. Like not even like distinguished notes. Like I can't even really smell this, to be honest. I have to try and get some on skin. This is probably one of the faintest fragrances I've ever purchased in my life. I honestly can barely pick up anything. Like I smell like what I had for lunch more than I smell the fragrance on my hand right now, which that's kind of gross, but it's true. Like Very, very faint, kind of like citrus with some florals. I don't know, I'm gonna have to wait for this to dry down. I'll come back and see if I can smell anything, but so far, I mean, you get what you pay for sometimes. It's not unpleasant what I am picking up. It's not like gross or like super harsh. It's just like, there's just nothing. Yeah, I'm not getting much. This so far is a $14 fragrance, and I feel like I may have just wasted $14. You roll the dice sometimes, but I will see how the dry down goes, but so far this is a flop, a complete flop. All right, so we are back. It's been about half an hour since I initially sprayed this Style Parfums Black Dragon, and the dry down on this, it's really boring. It's like, it's super generic. It's like so light, it's hard to tell. This is a flop. This is an absolute flop. Like, it's not a bad fragrance. It's just like almost like a ghost of a fragrance. There's not much to it. There's nothing, I can't really get a whole lot of anything from it. And like the presentation would have been like maybe kind of cool, but like, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but like the lid is just like sticky. It's, maybe it was just my bottle. I hope not all of them are like this, but it's really gross. Like, I'm gonna have to wash my hands after. It's like got like a real stickiness to it. So sorry, but Style Parfums Black Dragon, not super impressed. Like, I wouldn't even recommend this as like a cheapie that you can like reapply numerous times throughout the day because the scent profile is so good. The scent profile is just like meh and like non-existent. So big flop, kind of disappointed. I wish this would have been kind of one of those cheapy bangers that I came across, but unfortunately it wasn't. So save your money. I wouldn't recommend this one. Moving on. All right, so moving right along, we're gonna go with another Armaf, even though the other one technically kind of wasn't an Armaf, but this is an Armaf, and this is Armaf Futura La Homme. I've been wanting to get this one for quite a while. This has been on my wish list. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it for one reason or the other. It kind of got getting bumped down the list, but I finally decided to take a peek at this one, and I'm really excited to open this one up. So let's do that. All right, so there we have it. Armaf's Futura La Homme. I don't know why they have it as La Homme. It's usually L'Homme. I don't know why they do that. I'm not French, so I couldn't really tell you. But really excited to try this one out. The bottle is actually really nice. It's got a very unique design, especially for an Armaf. Like this does not look like an Armaf bottle. It's just got kind of like a bit of a kind of a geometric design to it. It's a little bit interesting. Very simple, very kind of like, you know, straight edge, whatever, but a little bit of personality to it. I kind of like that. And it's got like a little jewel down there. It's a little, maybe a little tacky, but for an Armaf bottle, this is probably one of the nicer ones I've ever seen. So cap on this. Actually, this is a really heavy metal cap. Again, wow, Armaf. It's not like a cheap crush in your hand plastic. It's an actual metal cap here that's, I don't think would break if it hit the ground. This is impressive so far, Armaf. You may have turned a corner here. But let's see what the fragrance is all about. Presentation's one thing, but it's all about the juice. So let's get this onto a test strip here. Atomizer is average. Get a little bit up in the air. Ooh, I can smell that already. Ooh, that's nice. Very clean, powdery opening to this one. Very fresh, very clean, powdery, aromatic. It's that lavender that's coming through. There's like a little bit of like citrus in here, like some bergamot. I'm starting to like get that iris that I heard about that's coming through with this. The iris is starting to come through. It's not very dominant in the very beginning here. Very, very nice opening. I really enjoy this one. I'm gonna see how this one dries down because I think I'm gonna really, really like this one. All right, so we're back for the dry down of Futura La Homme, and I really like how this dried down. You get a lot more of the iris coming through. And again, it's still very powdery, but you get like a little bit of sweetness coming through, like a touch of like very, very soft leather. I wouldn't even say this is like a leather. Very, very soft leather, like suede, perhaps a touch of woods coming through. Apparently there's supposed to be a coffee note in this, and I'm not picking up the coffee note. Definitely picking up the iris, definitely picking up that clean, powdery, soapy sort of vibe going on with this. A little bit of woods coming through, but The star of the show on this is definitely the iris, that clean sort of lavender feel with a touch of woods and a little bit of sweetness from the base. I really like this one. I can't wait to get this on skin. I think this, again, everything's different when you have it on paper in the air. I'm not giving like a full assessment of this, but aside from the Black Dragon fragrance, I'm not getting that on skin. I don't think it's gonna do much for it. But this one, I'm excited to get this one on skin, give this a full wearing, see kind of what the projection longevity is all about. I don't think this is gonna be a huge performer just based off of how it's coming across right now. But it is a very lovely scent profile. I am enjoying that really powderiness, that iris that's coming through, a little bit of woods, the sweetness coming through. This one I think this is a win. What did I pay for this one? This one cost me $23. So $23 from Fragrance Buy. I'm really happy with this purchase so far. I think this is gonna be something I keep in my rotation on a fairly regular basis when I'm feeling that kind of like powdery iris sort of vibe that I wanna get. I think this is gonna do quite well. Quite happy with this. That is Futura L'Homme. All right, so next up, we're moving into the House of Lattafa, and if you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a big fan of Lattafa. They make some great fragrances. The price point is always just amazing, and the quality of the juice is fantastic. I hadn't heard of this one until very recently, and so when I saw it for $20 on Fragrance Buy, I was just like, I have to pick this one up. Lattafa never lets me down, or I shouldn't say never, rarely lets me down. Lattafa rarely lets me down, and so I decided to scoop this one up. It's Lattafa's Hayati Black. Now, I've also seen this listed as Hayati Silver. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hayati Silver or Black Edition. I went with black. That's how it was listed as. Let's take a look at this one. Box is very nice so far, but let's get the cellophane off this and see what it's all about. All right, there we have it. This is not your standard presentation box. It is a kind of a slide-off box. Ooh, look at that. It's got its own little podium sitting in there. That's quite nice. I'm not gonna throw this on the ground because it's a nice box, so I'm not gonna do that. It sits in this like nice little podium there. It is a little bit cheap, but again, for $20, this is slide off box. It's all the fancy stuff. Bottle is very nice. It's very, plain, simple, nothing to it. It's got the rounded edges to it, but nothing crazy, nothing outrageous, but very nice bottle. It does have like a bit of a texture here to the Lattafa logo. I quite like. So very nice presentation so far. Cap on this is a plastic. It's a little lightweight. It's not super cheap, but it's definitely a $20 cap. So let's give this a whirl. Let's get this on paper, see how it smells. I'm quite excited for this because every time I try a new Lattafa, it's a whole new journey, a whole new experience. And so let's see what this one's all about. Very sweet, juicy style apple, like a very fruity apple style opening. A little bit of spice in there, like I can kind of like see some vanilla sort of mixing in this as well. Very sweet fragrance, like not overbearingly sweet at this moment, but this actually does remind me of another Lattafa fragrance. I have to get my nose on it just to see if I'm correct. I was right. Hayati, very similar to Najdia, at least in the opening here. That apple note, very similar. I'm getting that same sort of vibe I get from Najdia that I am getting from this Hayati at this moment. As this is starting to open up a little bit more, I'm starting to get a little bit more like spice, like a little hint of cinnamon kind of coming through, but it's very faint. I'm still getting a lot of that apple sweetness, maybe like a little bit of vanilla coming through, touch of musk, and maybe a little bit of woods coming through, so a touch of woods, but again, it's that really sweet apple at the top that's really dominating this fragrance right now. Really quite pleasant, very nice. Like I said, it does remind me of Najdia. We'll see what the dry down's like on this one, see if it might be kind of redundant to have both in the collection, but so far this is a very nice smelling. It's like not a harsh opening to it, very sweet, very juicy kind of apple that's coming through, a little bit of spice, a little bit of that kind of vanilla, touch of musk starting to come through. Really quite nice. Like this so far. So we'll see how the dry down goes, and we'll be right back. All right, so we are back with the dry down of the Lattafa Hayati. It hasn't changed a whole lot. You still get that apple that's there. There's a little bit more of the kind of spice coming through, but it's not like a dominant cinnamon necessarily. Like I'm not picking up like a very bold style cinnamon. A little bit of spice to it, a little bit of woods with that sweet apple that's there. Musk coming through for sure, and like the vanilla is there, but it's not a main player in this. Very, very similar to Lattafa's Najdia. They are different. They're, to be honest, I think the Najdia is a little bit better. There's like a little bit more to this one. I think it's just got a little bit more maybe depth to it, or perhaps just like a more interesting kind of combination of notes. This one seems fairly linear. It's not all that exciting or like new in terms of just like sweet apple style fragrances. So I do actually kind of prefer the Najdia over the Hayati, but this is a very good fragrance. If you do not have Najdia in your collection, I don't think this is a bad pickup. It is a nice fragrance. It is very like well blended. It's no like harsh edges to it. It's a good fragrance, but I do think this might be a little redundant if you already have Najdia in your collection. So that's pretty much it. Not disappointed I bought this. I think this is a good fragrance. I just don't think it's anything special in the Lattafa line, and compared to Najdia, I prefer Najdia of the two. And that's just my honest opinion, and that's what you guys came here for. But for $20, I think this is a good pickup. If you don't have Najdia in your collection currently, maybe check this one out, see what you think, make up your own mind. That's Lattafa's Hayati. All right, so last but certainly not least, this is the one that I'm quite excited for. This one just popped up on the Fragrance Buy randomly. I believe it's a new release from Afnan. I hadn't seen anything like this before from Afnan, and it is Afnan's Tobacco Rush. Now this is a big friggin' box for a fragrance, and it's only an 80 milliliter bottle that this is. This cost me $50 on Fragrance Buy. So one of the more expensive ones from this haul. Again, 50 bucks is not too bad, you know, not too bad, but it was one of the more expensive ones I have in this haul compared to the rest that I've talked about so far. So let's see if it was worth it. All right, so we got a little slide box happening action here. Ooh, this looks like it might be actually kind of a nice box. So it's got this kind of gold plate that's right on the front there. All, you know, the necessaries on the back. And it's got kind of like a, I don't know what kind of a texture you would call this exactly, but it's got kind of like a leather texture to it. It doesn't have a leather feel, but it does have a texture to it. Nice box, it's pretty decent, not bad. So we got the slide off, so it is just a pop-off lid. And there we have Afnan's Tobacco Rush sitting in a nice little casing there. Quite nice. Decent box presentation, you know, not bad. Bottle is interesting. It's got kind of like a fuzzy velvet edge. It's not super fuzzy, but it's like a soft, smooth sort of edge. And this kind of textured gold. It is cheap plastic, so this is not like a super hard metal or anything like that. It is kind of a cheap plastic. Oh, it is a magnetic lid though. Look at that. All right, you scored points with me for that on Afnan. I love me a magnetic lid. Look at the... All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Oh, I spoke too soon. This, I don't know if the camera can pick that up. That's already starting to kind of peel back a little bit. So, again, it's a little cheap. It's a cheap plastic. This is very lightweight, but magnetic. It's got that going for it. So, but still a little cheap. Still a little cheap. But let's see what this juice is. I saved this for last because it is supposed to be a very strong tobacco style fragrance, and I think if I would have started this one first, I wouldn't have been able to smell really anything else in this fragrance haul, so that's why we're starting with this last. So I'm really excited about this one. I've been hearing not much about this, to be honest, so let's see what it's all about. I like me a good tobacco fragrance. Ooh, it's a very spicy kind of tobacco right at the top. Very in the air, it's a very like spicy, leathery tobacco, though it's a little different on paper right now. Let's just give this a second. But it does have in the air, it's a very like leathery tobacco, spicy style tobacco. Not your typical kind of like sweet pipe tobacco, like a Pure Havane or like an Insurrection 2 Wild, sort of like cherry honey tobacco. This is a very like spicy, leathery sort of tobacco. Like a little bit more like a kind of a manly, rugged style of tobacco. A little bit of woods coming through. This is actually really, as this is like settling down after a second or two here, this is getting really, really nice. This is like the wood coming through right now is kind of smoothing out that spice. The spice was really kind of like hit hard at the very beginning, but now, yeah, it's got a little bit of a smoother leather, the wood's coming through, and you get that tobacco and those spices. A little touch of sweetness coming through. It's not a sweet fragrance. Like I said, it's not like that kind of cherry honeyed sort of style tobacco for that Pure Havane. Other tobaccos are kind of like. This is really nice. It does transition quite a bit from that initial spray into, you know, a couple minutes as the mid starts to kind of, as things start to kind of unfold and open up a little bit. This is very, very nice. I want to see what this dry down is all about, because I have a feeling this is going to like really smooth out. This is going to just get like kind of very warm, tobacco-y, with like maybe like a little hints of more sweetness come through. Let's see how this dries down and we'll go from there, because so far, really liking this as a tobacco fragrance. All right, so we are back with the dry down of Afnan's Tobacco Rush, and I'm really enjoying this dry down so far. I've already said it once in this video, but I'm gonna say it again. It is a different experience getting this off of paper and having it in the air versus wearing it, having it on skin and getting the full experience. So this is just my initial first impressions. This is just how I'm seeing things off of paper, smelling the things in the air. It's gonna be a totally different experience when I get this on skin, and I will be doing a full review of this one because I'm really enjoying what I'm getting off the paper right now, and I think this is gonna be an excellent fragrance. This definitely kind of opened up and did a little bit more since the initial blast. Now what I'm getting through this is that it's still that same kind of tobacco and spice, a little touch of that leather, that leatheriness kind of toned down a little bit, and there's oud coming through a little bit more. It's not a strong oud, it's not like a dominant oud style fragrance, but there's definitely some oud that's in the base along with some other woods. And those sweet notes kind of like jive with that oud quite nice. So it kind of like, it adds that sweetness to that kind of woody oud style along with that tobacco. It's really quite lovely. I really am enjoying this so far. So far, that's what I'm picking up off paper, what I'm picking off on the air. I can't wait to wear this one and give it a full review. So again, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button with the bell notified so you can see that when I do a full review on this. But press so far, that's Afnan's Tobacco Rush. All right, so there you have it. That's my first impressions of 4 brand new fragrances that I recently got in a larger haul. So again, I'm gonna have a bunch more unboxings and first impressions coming down the pipeline here. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss any of these videos. Those are coming right down the pipeline here very, very soon. So do that, go hit subscribe, hit that bell. And I wanna hear from you guys. What's something you've recently picked up that was either an absolute flop or an absolute banger of a fragrance? Let me know down in the comments. I love hearing about your guys' different fragrance stories, opinions on things, recommendations, all that kind of stuff. Appreciate you guys. Go comment down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.